Hello, everyone, and welcome back to She Plays the Podcast. I am so excited to be joined by Jess Nicholson today, all the way from Australia. So thanks so much for joining us. Jess is the Toyota Gazoo Racing 86 Series race director, the first woman in Australia to ever hold that role at the national level. Also, a clerk of the course, which we'll talk about what that means as well. So please join me in welcoming Jess to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, super excited to have you here. So, I mean, I will say that I have really gotten into racing the last couple of years, largely in part to the F1 series on Netflix. I won't lie. I grew up in NASCAR country, and so I'm learning, different types of racing. So I'd love for you to start just a little bit in telling how you got into racing, where your story began, really.
Oh, it began quite a long way back. So my first boyfriend, because I've always been into boy stuff, if you can say that in these days, but my dad was a cabinet maker and I used to always follow dad around. So I used to always love, using my hands and getting hands-on with things and building things. And then my first boyfriend was a mechanic, and that was it. From there on, I was always hanging out in the garage with him as he was building engines and tearing down gearboxes and mucking around with his car, and then just kind of followed on from there. So met him and then fell in love with high performance cars, and we used to sort of race around the streets in Adelaide, which is a little town in Australia, but we used to do that. And I've had some really cool high performance cars in my time. I've had a Nissan R32 GTR, Nissan 180, 1SX. I've had BMWs. I've even had V8s as well, so that was always fun. And then just got into the track sort of stuff and got to hang out the circuit. So we have circuit racing here in Australia, and got to hang out the grassroots sort of, state level stuff where anybody with a race car can kind of turn up and cut laps and race each other. And that's where I sort of got involved with, being not a spectator, but being an official. And that's where it really took off. And that was in the early 2000s. So, and then, from there, it was pretty cool because I was a flag marshal, a track side marshal, and used to wave all the flags and stuff. And then somebody said that I had a really good voice for radio. So then I got taken up into race control, which is where everything is sort of determined and all the decisions are made, and that's how the event is run in race control. And I got into the comms sort of operator, whereas, you're looking after a certain department on the track, and you'll be talking to all the track marshals and getting information from them on what's happening outside. And from there, I loved the clerk with the course role. That's where I really saw the clerk with the course and how they were making all the decisions, and they had all the responsibility of the event, and everybody was coming to them for answers. And I was like, oh, I really like that role. I think that's what I want to be. So that's what I aspired to be. And that took me over 10 years to get really good at it and perfect it. And then I felt that I was ready for the race director role, which then I applied for the program, because it is sort of an appointed role. So you get picked out of a handful of people, however many applied. And I was the first female to sort of have the role, but I had the skills and the background to back me, because you really need to be ready for that role, because the expectation is quite high, which I'm learning as I go now that I'm a race director. So it's been a fun journey, but a long one, but it needs to be a long one because you really need the skills and the background to have that knowledge behind you, so you know what you're doing, and you try not to make mistakes. I haven't made one yet, so we'll see how we go.
There you go. Yeah, I like that record. Well, and it's, you're right. There's so much that goes into a race, and I mean, so many moving parts. So taking the time to learn the wisdom and to probably also like gain the confidence in what you're doing, and your ability to know, things you've seen in the past. That's amazing. And I love hearing, sticking with something that you love and like having new challenges. It's really neat to be able to see, it's not it's the same sport, but there's so many different parts of it. And so and you started were you a mechanic? Like, were you in the garage working on cars first and then it became driver, or kind of all at the same time doing some of that groundwork part?
I'm always a helper. I'm never the mechanic.
Okay.
Even my husband today, he's a mechanic, and I'm his helper. I'm never, I don't know as much as he does, but I've been around him for a long time. And when you sit in the garage and you listen to how things are, and you see the things getting pulled apart, the gearboxes, the engines, and you know what you're looking at, which I find fun, and you can kind of help problem solve as well. So I'm really good now when I am driving my race car, and her name's Ruby, and she's a Mazda RX-8 she's a hybrid Mazda RX-8 with a 5.7 litre Chev engine. She's got a V8 in her, and she's really good. But I can help him diagnose a problem, because now I know it's sounding like this, it's doing that, it's only doing it on this corner, or so I can actually give him really good feedback so he can fix my car.
That's
if
awesome.
and when it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, got to keep Ruby running. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she's good fun.
What do you think you've learned throughout the different stages of your career? Like what, like parts of yourself as like becoming a professional, or like, you know, just having a career go on for a period of time? What are some things you feel you've learned about yourself or about, you know, sport in general?
Oh, you definitely grow to have patience, and to also have calmness, because, you know, certain things can happen in the heat of the moment. People say different things, and you've got to stay calm and you know, have the patience. But even public speaking, like to stand as a clerk of the course in front of, you know, over 100 drivers and tell them these are the rules and regulations for this event for this weekend, and they're all staring at you, that takes a bit of courage. And yeah, that's something that I'm really comfortable with now. I can just do any type of public speaking, and I'm used to people looking at me, and, you know, even asking questions and having the answers straight away. It's been character building. But yeah, volunteering for me, or being an official, has definitely been a great journey, and it's helped me in my normal profession as well, because I've got a normal full-time job. This is just something that I do on the side. This is just a hobby for me. So but it's been a long hobby. But yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. Yeah,
I don't know that I knew that.
yeah. So that, yeah, a lot of events over here have officials, and they're all basically volunteer based. It's not a paid job. And yeah, we do it for the love, we do it for the passion, and we do it because we want the best seat in the house, which is usually trackside. Sure. And you can hear all the background stuff, because you usually have a radio, so you can hear everything else that's going on. But yeah, it's great fun. And yeah, we're not paid, volunteered, and do it for the love. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is that unique to racing over there? I mean, I know football is big over there, but is that like I mean, I know the racing community, different ones across different countries, are so passionate and, you know, want their sport to get recognition, but that's amazing.
Yeah, and like some of the big events, because we have a tiered system. So there's state, there's club level, then there's state, and then there's national level, and then there's like international, which we only have really the Formula One is our international event every year. But even national, they would have over 400 officials that turn up to help make that event run, and pretty much all 400 of them are all volunteer, all turn up because they want to be there, all turn up and work the long hours and do whatever they need to do, and even sometimes pay to get there with accommodation and flights or wherever it is. So they come from all over the country just to be there. Like I just came back from Darwin, and there would have been over 200 officials there, and we all paid for flights and accommodation and everything just to go and hang out in Darwin.
Wow.
And be at a race meet. So yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And yeah, just again, the passion behind it. What do you think is unique about racing compared to other sports?
I think the friendship. So I met so many lifelong friends, just because we have the same passion with, you know, wanting to be trackside and wanting to be an official. And yeah, I meet new people every event that I go to, and again, they're lifelong friends, and you might not see them for another year, but then when you do see them, it's like you were speaking to them yesterday. And they're all really passionate and supportive, and yeah, it's great. It's just such a community. I love the motorsport community, and it's really tight knit, and we are very supportive of each other. And we all love to hang out and catch up with each other. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So not really feeling like work much, even just by enjoying the sport, but also with other people. Yeah. Oh yeah. But like hard work. Yeah. Lots of work. Yeah. And I'm curious too, like, you know, being the first woman, being the first to hold a number of things, right? You're also the first deputy race director of painter.
Yeah, painter. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. A number of races, I think, right? And so I'm curious, did you have a a mentor, not necessarily a woman, but did you have a mentor that you looked up to? Or, were there women in the sport that were, kind of pouring into you with their experience at all?
Not really, because when I first started, there weren't that many women. I mean, now it's a completely different story. When you turn up to an event, it's probably 50-50.
Wow.
But when I started, yeah, no, that we were very few and far between. But I've always, got on with males very well, and it is a very male dominated sport. So you had to kind of get on with them if you wanted to get anywhere. So you had to network and make friends. And look, I just learned from my mistakes. So I didn't always have a mentor. I have had ones along the way. I have definitely had them at the later stage now with the deputy race director, because that is a program where you need to be sure if you like it, if you like the role, and then they need to be sure that you like the role and that you're good at it. So I had to be mentored for about 2 years to see if I was going to fit the program, to see if I was going to actually fit a category, and then even if I liked it. So that's, yeah, the mentoring has definitely helped. And that's also where I got my gold grade. So we have another tiered system, which is bronze. Well, you start at general, official, then bronze, then silver, and then gold. And gold level is basically you can run an F1 sort of event because it's international. So gold, and that's where I've got my gold grade as well. So I was mentored and got the gold. And again, that's the first for me. I'm the first female to hold gold in event command, like clerk of course role. Wow. So that's another first. So yeah, there's been quite a few firsts in the last couple of years, but yeah, it's good fun.
Oh, I mean, good fun. And also just paving the way, right? Paving the way for lots of people to follow in your footsteps. That is incredible. Yeah. Congrats. I mean, that's big. That's a big deal. And so you're talking about this program. What's the program of race director? What do you mean? Is it like a couple of years, like a mentorship thing again, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So you're teamed up with a category, but also a race director. So you'll be the deputy race director, and basically you shadow that race director for that category throughout the whole of the series. Okay. And then even sometimes you can be added on to different categories and different events to get some more mentoring. Just depends what's going on and who can fly and who can travel. And with all the COVID that's been around, there was a bit of change in sort of the program with who you could be with and who you were shadowing, only just because, they weren't available at the time. But it's good to try or learn from different race directors as well. But that's, the program is basically to shadow, to see if you suit the program and fit the program, but also to see if you actually like the role, because it's a two-way street. It's not just a one-way street, because sometimes it's overwhelming, and the expectations you don't realize are quite high, and all eyes are looking at you. And you don't want to make a mistake. You're trying to really, ensure that you're not making a mistake. And that's where you pull all the skill set and, the past experiences, plus your mentor as well. You use your mentor as a backup to sort of bounce ideas off of, or bounce, a decision, or this is what I think, and do you agree? So it's definitely a growing process. Definitely.
But I mean, sounds smart to keep it growing, to keep the people in that want to be in there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So clerk of the course and then race director, 2 different roles, right? What was your favorite thing about being clerk of the course?
For me, to be in charge.
Okay, yeah.
I like the responsibility. I like the responsibility and to help grow others. But I mean, even with the clerk of the course, I love to mentor. So I'm always mentoring my race control team. We have a succession plan, because sometimes in motorsport, there's not enough succession planning, because people love to hang on to their role and they don't want to give it up and give it to somebody else. So they don't want to train, but we're trying to, alleviate that, and give opportunities, because to learn clerk of the course and even then to step up to race director, it takes many years to, the different events that you attend, the different experiences you have, the different incidents that you have to deal with, and then also the people management, the different people and characters you have to deal with. So it is quite a full-on role, and it does take many years to get really good at it.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm really comfortable with it. So
is there a race that stands out as like, we nailed that? Like, oh, that was such an amazing experience getting to serve in that role?
Yeah, And I mean, there has been so many along the way. Any successful event is a good event,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, minimal incidents, and everyone packs up, puts their cars on trailers, and goes home happy. That's the best feeling for me. And yeah, there hasn't been too many that have really stood out, but I've just had a lot of experiences and tried a lot of different levels as well, club all the way up to F1, and they've all been great. They've all been an experience, and they're all like eye-opening and overwhelming, and you just take it all in and go, yeah, that was cool. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What's maybe something people wouldn't expect from the race director role? Like something that you are either in charge of, or something that's maybe easier than people think or harder than people think?
Oh, I would definitely say it's harder, and it's just the expectation. I wasn't prepared or in short, like ready, in the sense of the expectation of all eyes on you. And then the commentators, because they, you know, when the race is on TV, the commentators and the cameras will flick to race control, and there you are sitting in there trying to make a decision, and you can, because we see it come up on screen, and then they're talking about you, and I just wasn't ready for that kind of media. But
Yeah.
that, it's been fun, and it's a growing curve. You know, you just get used to it. So
I will say that's one of my favorite things when watching an F1 race is they'll cut to the team, either the mechanic team or, you know, the team race control, I guess is what you would call them. And then they see themselves on TV, and some of them react, some of them don't. And it's,
oh,
yeah, it's an interesting part of it, isn't it? Like you see
yeah,
yourself on TV, which is not like most other sports.
yeah, and it's like, stay calm, don't
Yep.
react, just keep looking forward, just point if you need to, or have a discussion like you would normally. Don't worry about the cameras.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, nerve-wracking for sure, a little bit of it. Well, tell me a little bit about the FIA Girls on Track program. I know you're an ambassador for that, so do you mind speaking a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, that's a fabulous program. And to see young ones of all different ages come into the program, and us ambassadors talk about our experience, and then we do like mini little challenges with them, and we move through the sessions with them, and just to see their faces, like, I didn't know that this was available to me, and this is so cool, and, you know, wanting to get involved. And then the older girls, you know, actually reaching out and saying, can I come to an event and see what you do and see how it all works? And then seeing their faces when they come to the event, and they're overwhelmed, and they're just, you know, full of enthusiasm, and their eyes light up. And that's just, yeah, it's really great program. And it is really working. Like, there's a lot of ambassadors that can help, and we can, you know, we can ensure that there's avenues that they can go down, and we can give them networking and put them on the right path. And that's basically what it's about, is to ensure that we can make it a little bit easier for these young ladies, that if they want to get into motorsport in any avenue, that we can definitely help them do that, and set sort of a right direction or a pathway, and off they go. So
That's
it's good
awesome.
fun.
Yeah. Is there an age group of like, is there a certain like minimum age kids can be, or?
Yeah, it's usually from about, there was groups of from 6 all the way up to 22. So, but
Okay.
we batch it in different groups, so that the young ones aren't with the older ones, because, you know, you talk
Sure.
at a different level, and you talk about different things and explain things differently as well. So we did
Yeah.
it in sort of batches or sessions with the different age groups.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll definitely put all the information in the show notes for all you listeners to check out if you have
Yeah.
interest in joining. Real quick, let's just chat race car driving, because I know, yeah, you do drive. And what's the fastest you've ever gone, you think?
Oh, I've probably gone up to about 280. So that was pretty fun. And because there's some racetracks around here with long main straights. So, and you got to push, and then you got to go through the corner pretty quick too. So it's like a mental thing that you got to prepare yourself for, and you got to go, don't brake, come on, don't brake, just dab it, and then get back on the throttle, and, you know, go through that corner, and, you know, trying to go through that corner around 180, 180 Ks. That's the sort of mark. But yeah, and my husband is the data guy, so he'll check every time I come in. He'll check the car, and then he'll tell me where I need to improve and what I should be doing. And, you know, you're taking that corner too sharp. You know, you got to look for the apex. And yeah, he's also my training, and he's been racing for a very long time, and he's got his own race car as well. So we've both, his and hers, we've got.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yours is Ruby. What's his called?
I have a horrible name for it, but he he calls it Starlet. So it's actually funny because mine's the big beefy V8 and his is this little dainty hatchback. So
Okay.
I look like it looks a bit funny that I've got the big V8 and he's got the little dainty car, but it's very fast. And it's a front wheel drive, but yeah, it's very, very fast. And it's a bit of a cult car that's been around for a long time. He has changed it now, but the category that he used to run in, it was like one of those cars that was always up the front, and everybody used to love watching him race because he used to fly through the field. It was great fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. And well, and how much of driving do you feel is mental versus, I mean, physical? We've seen a lot this year on Formula One, a lot of the porpoising. So like the physical demand on a driver's body is intense that I don't think a lot of us realize. But what would you say the like mental toughness required? Is it really remembering the track completely, or what's that really like?
Yeah, and it's staying alert too, because you need to be always aware of your surroundings, and you always need to be watching what's going on. Like if they have an incident and they want to, put the safety car out, then you need to make sure that you're adhering to the flags that the track marshals are using, and you need to make sure that you know what you're doing and where you should be. It can be quite mentally draining. It is quite full on, but it is a toll on the body as well with the G forces. So you need to be fit. I need to get back into the gym and get a bit fitter, but I've sort of been having a bit of a break recently because we did move and changed house, and we finally built the forever shed, like the dream shed, because our race cars used to stay everywhere else. They never used to be at home with us because in Sydney where I live, there's not a lot of room for a big shed out the back, but now we've done a tree change and now we're got a bit of land, so we've built a big shed, and my husband's finally got his workshop, so he's really happy, and yeah, the cars live with us finally. So
Awesome. Well, that's exciting.
yeah.
Do you have races coming up either as a driver or, back as a director or official?
Oh yeah, so in 2 weeks time I'm up in Townsville, which is way up north of Australia, and there's my Toyota 86s are running there. And then we've got some other race meetings. I've basically got one a month that I'm either race directing or clerk of coursing or just hanging out at and being a track marshal. So it's constant.
That's awesome though. I mean, it's so neat to find something that you love and something that you give a lot to, but also gives a lot back. So that's really incredible. What do you see? Last question, and then we'll get to some fun rapid fires, but what do you see the future of racing evolving as, particularly with women more in driving and in the official capacity? Where do you see that going? What do you see is going to be in the next 5 years?
Oh, I definitely feel that there'll be more people like me in higher positions. There are still a lot of women now that are in senior positions because they are the right person for the job. It's not always, male versus female. It's more about the right person for the job. And yeah, I mean, I've set a pathway now that, women know that they can get to a certain level if that's where they really want to be. You need to have the skills and the experience behind you. But if that's where you want to aspire to, there's nothing stopping you if that's what you want to do. And even in racing, I really think that there'll be some females coming through that are going to be race car drivers in any capacity, in any sort of category. I'm really hoping to see that, because I know when I race in my category, I'm the only female, but I'm hoping to see if more people see me race, they'll go, okay, I can do it. And it's not as, full on as I'm thinking, and it's not as scary as I'm thinking. So hopefully I've paved the way and I'm a good enough role model that people can see that they can do it as well. And there's nothing stopping you. It's only a bit of cash now and again, but even then you can get sponsors. So you can do it if you really want to.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, truly, make no mistake, you are giving permission to a lot of young girls in the future to say, oh, I see that, I can be that. That's big.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So again, just thank you from, just the world. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And, again, like just doing what you love. That's what's so cool about it. And, if things were difficult, pushing through. So excited to continue watching you and your career and, like maybe seeing you on a screen one day of a race in Australia or something. That's amazing. Do you want to do a couple little quick fire and then we'll tell people where to find you online and everything?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what's your favorite? I don't know if you have a pre-race day ritual, but like what's your favorite like pump up song? It really like gets you ready for a race.
Anything with Queen, because of the high notes and the thumping bass in the background, even a bit of AC/DC. That's an Australian rock band. Anything that's got a real good sort of beat and it's pumping and gets you G'd up. That's the kind of stuff, the music that I love to listen to.
Love it. All right, what's your favorite sports movie?
Sports movie would have to be, what is it, The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock. I really love that one, and the journey and how they took him in and look after him. And that's like motorsport. We take you under the wing and you become part of the family, and then that's it. You never leave.
I love that. That's awesome. If you could either pursue a career, like a official role, or be good at any other sport other than racing, what would you want to be involved in?
I don't know, because I'm not really, reflex well with. I don't reckon it'd be ball related, but I do love rally and rally. I have been a rally navigator in the past as well, because I've done everything. I have to try these things, but yeah, rally would have to be the other discipline that I really love other than circuit.
Awesome. All right. Who's your favorite sports team or driver?
Well, we're not allowed to have favorites, so I don't actually have one.
I was thinking if that was gonna happen.
I love them all. So,
all right. What about your favorite memory of watching a sport?
There's been too many. Now you're putting me on the spot. I don't know. I love watching back the tapes, and I do record the sessions that I'm on track, and then I nitpick myself and go, I should have done something there, and I should do better there, and this time I need to do that. So that's about it, really. But yeah, I'm a bit of a tragic. It's either motorsport or lifestyle TV shows.
Yeah, love it. Who do you think's the greatest athlete of all time?
Oh, that's a I don't know about that one either. It would have to be Muhammad Ali or someone like that.
Fair,
the stamina and kept going and didn't believe in any of the hatred or anything like that, and just kept pushing on until he got what he wanted. Love that.
All right, last question. I asked this to everyone. If you could get tickets for life for one sporting event, you get them every time the event happens. So if it's the Olympics, it's every 4 years, you get free tickets. If it's, the Australian Grand Prix, you get them every year. What are you getting tickets for life?
It would have to be Goodwood Festival in England. That would be absolutely magic to see all the different eras that they come through and all the different stuff that they get. Like that event is insane. But even NASCAR, one of the NASCAR events like Indy 500 or something, that would be absolutely mind-blowing. And I am hopefully going to get there one day and be there and be trackside and see it all. But that would be nuts.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, if you come stateside, please let us know. We would love to see you and catch up. Well, please tell people where they can find you. Thank you so much for being here. But yeah, where can people connect with you online? And like I said, we'll put the FIA Girls on Track stuff in the show notes as well.
Yeah, so even just my personal pages. So Facebook, look up Jess Nicholson in Australia, Sydney, Australia, or even in Instagram, Jessica Nicholson 88. So any of those two platforms, you'll definitely see what's going on with me. And if I'm at a motorsport event, that's where I post. So
awesome. Well, truly, truly an honor to talk with you and just to learn about what you've done and the barriers you're breaking. So thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. And we will be watching and following along, and everyone please check out those show notes and give Jess a follow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been great.
Thank you.